Hey everyone, welcome back to Sonder County, more specifically Grapeseed, where last episode we worked on a few small areas, including changing the road type to give it that nice suburban flair, as well as adding in a small elementary school. However, I feel that Grapeseed doesn't stand for its own name. After all, where's the grapes? So, in this episode, I'm going to be showing you how you can create a beautiful, efficient, and convincing rural environment fit with hundreds of acres of farmland for all of your citizens' needs by using the techniques we all love, respecting the topography. And hopefully, when it's all said and done, we'll have a nice agricultural sector just outside of Grapeseed. And if you like this video, make sure to subscribe and leave a comment down below what you want to see next or what should be improved. And if you're really enjoying my content, make sure to join my Discord down below and follow my Twitch so you never miss a beat. Now, let's stop the yapping and get to building. You know, I feel like that a lot of people, whenever they play City Skylines, they don't really try to add in some history to their cities, right? And then they think, and then they struggle for hours trying to plan out an area, and it just doesn't work at the end of the day. But don't worry, because I'm here to actually show you guys. I've been playing City Skylines for upwards of 8 years. City Skylines 2, I've been playing for 2 years, ever since it released. And my favorite thing to build, especially in City Skylines 2, with the way that you can place down farmland, is without a doubt building farming sectors. You can see what I'm doing right now is I'm placing down a nice highway to make the through traffic go away from the town and through the actual farming area, which will help like decrease traffic and all that nonsense, because I've noticed that the main street's becoming a little bit crowded, and for a town of 1,800 people, I don't feel like that really encapsulates how much traffic there should actually be. Example, there isn't a lot of traffic in my own hometown, and my town has 12,000 people in it. But I think after this episode, I had around 2,000 people living in Grapeseed, which is still pretty, like, substantial, but it's definitely not the biggest amount. I mean, you know, Sonder County, we have a massive map that we still need to cover, so we're definitely not done by any means. But hey, back to what I'm saying, right? With agricultural sectors, I get the confusion about it, right? It's difficult to create convincing looking ones, but all you need to really do is respect the topography. And what I mean by this is following the contour lines. When you go to the terraforming tools and then you look at the actual area where it says, like, where the lines are, like there's black lines and there's like lighter lines that show the gradation of the land, really just follow that. A perfect example is what I'm building right now. I'm planning out the road layout for the agricultural area, and you can see what I'm doing. I'm avoiding hills and I'm avoiding areas where, in my mind, a truck would have to drive through. Example, right? Like what I'm building right now, there is a lot of flat land, and as such, I find it to be easier to build straight lines. And I don't feel like anybody should be, you know, feeling bad about building flat, squared out farming areas. I mean, you can see what I'm doing right now, right? People get ashamed of that and then they stop building it. And I just wonder, well, why do you want to stop building that? Because it makes sense to do so. I mean, like, you can see what I'm doing right now. I have a little bit of, like, I try to make a lot of my roads historical, right? Like, a lot of them won't be perfect squares, because back then, people didn't have rulers. I mean, rulers didn't become a staple, like, commonality in just households alone until at least the 1900s. So, obviously, if a town like Grapeseed, which is founded in 1886, naturally enough, there aren't going to be any rulers when they actually build out this farmland. And that's another thing that I want people to consider as well. The historical context of your farming areas, you know? When you're building a farming area, you got to keep in mind, when was a town built? How long have this existed? Is this a new farming area? How many people actually work in the farming areas? Is the town centered around it? Grapeseed is a perfect example. It's centered around farming. And matter of fact, if I could, I would, without a doubt, show off, like, so many farming areas. I would build so many surrounding that. But naturally enough, the map isn't big enough to actually do that. But, you know, like, if I could build a map in City Skylines 2, it would be, like, the size of Texas. Like, I would make it absolutely massive. But I know the game couldn't handle that. And neither could my computer or my brain cells to be able to comprehend the size of building like that. But yeah, anyways, respecting the topography, which is what I was saying beforehand. respecting the topography is hella important. And if you want to get anything done, like, you got to make sure that you have some flat area to do it. But you also don't want to be a jerk and completely flatten out the area or pull a San Francisco and drive grids up hills. It's definitely not a realistic way of going about it, unless, of course, you live in San Francisco and that's all you've been taught. But, hey, I mean, everybody does whatever. But anyways, back to, like, actually talking about Grapeseed here. I don't really have a lot of historical context, other than the fact that Grapeseed is an old town, and back then a lot of old towns just revolved around mining, farming, or industrialization, depending on the era. I mean, this is Grapeseed. Grapeseed was, again, founded in the 1880s, so there's a good chance that Grapeseed probably had some type of industrialization, but I don't think it would be enough to encompass the absolute wheat conglomerate that Grapeseed has become over the years. And I really want to show that with this farming area. I mean, you can just see it, man. This is a massive farming area. Probably one of the, if not the biggest farming area that I've ever built in City Skylines 2. And in City Skylines in general, again, City Skylines 1 is notorious for not having the creative freedom that it really deserved. Example, these transformer stations, they weren't in City Skylines 1, and I absolutely fell in love with them when I first got City Skylines 2. Regardless of how badly they worked, they are still absolutely amazing. And building something like this, a transformer station, fit with 6 transformers, and all of them are going to go to different towns within Sonder County. And this is definitely, first of all, preparing for the future, but it also just shows City Skylines 2 is really freaking cool. I mean, I don't feel like enough people give this game enough credit where it's due, because, I mean, just look at what I'm building. This is some of, if not the best builds I've ever been able to make. And if I even attempted to build this in City Skylines 1, I would be met with errors, crashes, modding conflicts, and that's just if I used mods. If I used vanilla, this would take me at least double, if not triple the time to do. Like, it took forever for me to build at least one farming area in City Skylines 1, but now this whole build took me about an hour to do. And I guess that's not really showing, like, oh, Brett's being lazy again. It's more or less just the fact that City Skylines 2 makes things user-friendly and it makes things efficient. People can disagree with me all they want, but, I mean, look at this grid tool. Come on. Like, I get you have this in City Skylines 1, but just the fact that stuff like this is more readily available in City Skylines 2, like, modding has never been easier in City Skylines 2, without a doubt, and I'm going to die on that hill. Like, it is definitely great. Doing something like this, for example, being able to make beautiful farming areas is absolutely amazing. And, there aren't a lot of really, like, pro epic gamer tips that I need to show you guys, because genuinely, it's just make sure you respect the topography by not leveling out hills and valleys and mountains just so you can build your farmland. Make sure to choose a nice, proper, small area to do it, or a large area if you're like me and just have a lot of flat land to deal with. And then, just use anarchy. I love to use mods, but you can definitely pull this off that anarchy and add in some bushes on the outside to divide which farms are which. It actually also helps you figure out which farms are which when they become super duper close together, like in this farming area. Also, adding in water towers and windmills is a really good idea to actually show off, like, the ruralness of the town, and it looks really cool. I also decided to keep on time for this video. The only reason was because I wanted to see, like, what did the town actually look like at night? It looks pretty freaking cool. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. I did encounter a couple of problems, though, when I was doing this build. One is the road that I created a couple of episodes ago. It seemed to be a little glitchy. A lot of the roads didn't seem to really like it that much. You could see me adding in, like, tiny little commercial areas, nothing too crazy. I didn't want to make this a detailing video as much as it was just a showcase of what City Skylines 2 is able to do. I mean, example, you're able to build roads just out of thin air with a mod that's for free on Paradox Interactive, which that's a great thing too. Free mods, everyone loves those. And then, like, how realistic is that, man? Like, it's nice to be able to have the creative freedom to actually make realistic towns and cities now. Like, I feel like a lot of them look absolutely amazing now. A lot of the towns that, if I even tried to recreate this in City Skylines 1, I wouldn't be able to. Like, I absolutely fell in love with City Skylines 2 from the get-go, and while I did have a couple of issues with it, I've always loved this game, and I'm glad that I gave it a chance. But anyways, this is a failure part of the video. I tried to create a high school district, and it just did not work. I wanted to create one that, like, actually did look nice, look good, look functional, but it just, I don't think it fits in Grapeseed. I think it's better off if we fit that into a different town, which, don't worry, guys, that is coming. I'm gonna go ahead and say probably next video, we will start working on a new town. The town's name is going to be, I'm not saying it. Honestly, I should have kept this high school. I kind of liked it. No, I didn't. I can see why I deleted it now. You can see me, like, trying to rebuild this area. I was going to make a new elementary school that was going to be on the top of the hill instead of the bottom, and there was going to be a preschool on the end. Like, this whole area would have been a school district, but I decided to just go against it because of the fact that it looks like a big blob in Grapeseed. Grapeseed is known for being a rural town, and by adding in a bunch of these little, like, high schools and stuff, it just doesn't make the town look good. Like, it doesn't fit with the aesthetic that I'm going for this town, which is, again, it being a rural area. And, you know, like, I liked the idea. I liked where my head was, but I feel like whenever you build a rural town in City Skylines 2, you want to make sure that you actually, like, have a grasp of, like, the aesthetic you want to go for. Are you going for entirely rural, or are you going for, like, somewhat rural, or are you going for just complete farmland, like almost no houses? Then you got to kind of consider that. Like, the elementary school that I built last episode, it's good. It fits the aesthetic. But, however, oh my god, what happened there? That was a big error. Anyways, but it's better off to just sometimes, some towns don't need a high school. Some towns use other, like my high school, other towns use it. It's like, it's kind of like a community building in a way. A lot of towns like to share high schools because high schools are expensive. Elementary schools are expensive, and I don't consider Grapeseed to be a very wealthy town. I consider it to be a more progressive town, right? People want change, people want the high school, but they just don't have enough money to actually do it, you know? And I like doing this, you know? I like having, it's better to have historical context for your towns and cities in City Skylines 2 rather than not do anything about it and then complain when your city doesn't look the way you want it to. Like, you want to make sure that you have, like, sort of a gist of, like, what you want to do. I did find, though, that this supermarket kind of fits a little bit. I like the idea of it being sort of like a farmhouse market type of deal. You know, it's like fresh local produce. You know, it's got all the goodies and stuff. You know, added in a couple little warehouses there. All good things in this episode. You know, so with that being said, everybody, I'm glad that you enjoyed my little rant here today. Was this the biggest episode? No. I've been a little bit busy, so I haven't been able to get on the old City Skylines grind. But hey, if you did enjoy this video, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below what you want to see next. And as always, everybody, my name is Brett. Stay frosty, stay curious, and make sure to add in some historical context into your towns, or else, you know, you might get the whole Armageddon.